Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by my co-host, Cody Tanner. Cody, how are you doing this fine Monday evening, only a couple days before the draft?
Yeah, James, we are nearing the draft, and it's actually kind of crazy. Caught me off guard, sneaking up on us. I'm excited. I'm super excited, but I'm nervous, man. There's so many things that can happen with this draft. But James, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Short week for me. I took off Thursday, Friday. You'll never guess why.
Why?
Because
The
I take
draft.
off every year. Yeah, I take off every year for the draft. Turns out that once again, my wife's birthday falls on the same weekend as the draft. That's just the way that works.
That's
most
just
weekends.
unfortunate for her.
Well, she's gonna get spoiled in the morning and afternoon, and then in the evening, hey, she can join in the festivities if she'd like.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about here at Steelers by the Lake. Football, 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 occasionally celebration for other reasons, but then we're back to football.
Hey, she'll get breakfast in bed. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Get it? Eggs. Anyways, we're going to go over...
Oh, Lord.
I'm weird mood today. We're going to go over some Steelers news, Steelers transactions, Steelers
What's her name?
updates. Stop. Oh, no. We're gonna talk Steelers news. Then we're going over our last mock draft as a group, as a duo. James and I did a mock draft again, and so we're gonna talk news real quick. So Steelers did traded for Allen Robinson from the Los Angeles Rams, Las Vegas Rams, Los Angeles. I don't know what's going on in my head.
Angeles.
I'm
yes.
tired.
Vegas is Raiders.
Yeah, Vegas is Raiders. So they did trade for Allen Robinson. They only gave up switching 7th round picks and then got
Yes.
Allen Robinson, and they're only paying a partial of his contract. Los Angeles is paying a chunk of that as well. Huge deal for Pittsburgh. Huge. I mean, this guarantees your
Honestly,
top
yeah.
four guys at wide receiver.
Yeah, really stabilizes the wide receiver room, and for next to nothing. When we first heard about this, I was texting Cody and I said, "Something's going on, man. It looks like they're getting Allen Robinson." And he said, "Oh God, I'm worried about what we're giving up for it." And I said, "Maybe, just maybe, this is a salary cap dump." Turns out exactly that's what it was. They're trying to get out from underneath the contract. $10 million will count against the Rams salary cap, only 5 against Pittsburgh. And
Don't forget
guess
those
what?
5-star reviews.
Don't forget them. That's right. With roster displacement, he's only going to count like $4 million against the cap.
Yeah, we love that. We love
So that's tremendous. And then they reworked the second year of the deal because he's under contract for 2024 as well. And what I understand is that got turned into a $1 million base with a $10 million total for the second year. So it makes it easy to get out of it if things don't go well, but also makes it so that you're not paying 15, 20 million for your number 3 wide receiver. Really puts a lot of pressure onto Deontay Johnson in my book. But your 3 wide receiver sets are very solidified. I mean, this is a high-end receiver at his peak. The last 2 years, he only played 10 games last year, 11 the season before, just out due to injuries. And when you look at the resume of the quarterbacks that he's had to deal with, good Lord, man. Blake Bortles, that's what he had to deal with at the beginning of his career.
Listen, that was the year Blake Bortles went off, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's probably the year he went to the Pro Bowl. But yeah, and then he had Mitchell Trubisky's career, which didn't go so well. And then the first year of the quarterback for the Bears now, and what do you have, like Fields. 4 touchdown passes? Yeah, Fields rookie year. I want to say he only had like single digits touchdown passes that year, and he had to deal with that too. And,
it was nothing good.
And then last year, Stafford with an elbow that was blown out like Ben's, and then he's got backup quarterbacks you never even heard of before.
Yeah, he hasn't played with somebody like Kenny Pickett yet. He hasn't even played with a team as well put together as the Pittsburgh Steelers at this point. He played with a pretty good defense with the Rams, but that only gets you so far when you don't have great quarterback play and great offensive play.
And you're probably getting double teamed because there's no other weapons. So
exactly.
Yeah,
he's not getting double teamed in Pittsburgh. George Pickens, Deontay Johnson,
not a chance.
No shot.
Yeah.
Dude, freaking Pat Fryermuth,
Dominant
there's
run
no
blocker
chance.
too, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Absolutely dominant run blocker. Wins more than 50% of his contested catches, which is a really high percent. 2.2% dropped ball rate last year, one of the lowest in the entire NFL.
We love that.
Top 5 in the entire NFL for how solid his hands are. So fantastic.
I wonder if that's a sign
acquisition.
to. I wonder if that's a little. Hey, Deontay, look what happens when you catch the ball. Anyways, we're moving past that.
Yeah, we'll pay this guy. He can catch.
We will. Kenny Pickett up to 226 pounds. The man's a dog, adding on some muscle from last year.
His QB coach said he was playing at about 213 at the end of the year last year. So up 13 pounds. He weighed in at 219 at the combine, but it's not uncommon for guys to have a tough time keeping weight on with how grueling and physical the season is. So nice to see he's putting the muscle on, filling out a little bit. That'll make it a little easier for him to stay on his feet and maybe get concussed a few less times.
Yeah, maybe. And especially the quarterback position, it's a high stress position with all the controversy that was going on all year between him and Pickett and Rudolph and all this stuff, and going in, then getting hurt, then getting put back in. The stress could have been a factor. His eating habits, quite frankly, could have been a factor. You don't know what he's eating all the time at home. These NFL players,
he probably wasn't eating enough. Let's be honest.
Well, that's my point. Is they don't. You know, I'm sure that some of these guys, once they get down the road, they start getting nutritionists in and chefs and this and that. He probably just was kind of still doing his own shopping, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, let me clarify.
More steak, less fish. He needs more calories, man.
Yeah. So there's a ton of reasons why he could have lost some weight, but going up to a healthy 226, that's great. You expect players to gain weight from the NFL or from college to NFL because of the weight training and because of putting on more muscle and just the grueling things that the weight trainers are just the personal trainers, the weight team. Who's the guy that we have that freaking goes off all the time?
Marcel Pasteur.
Yes, Pasteur.
Yeah.
He probably beefed him right up.
I guarantee he can. Man knows how to do it. No doubt about that. It's just great to see him getting that extra muscle on. I'm sure this will be a continuing thing throughout his career to a certain point where he decides that he's comfortable with it, but it won't hurt him in any way. That's for sure.
No.
So great to see there. The press conference was today. The general manager, Omar Khan, and Mike Tomlin sitting side by side, fielding questions. And they were absolutely giddy when talking about the fact that pick number 32 is open for business. Already have received a few phone calls. They said it is just kind of standard procedure to talk to darn near everybody as far as moving up, moving down. But they do anticipate a lot of calls coming in and are already working on plans as far as how to handle all the calls, process them efficiently, and figure out what the best deal may be. It really almost sounds like they're already saying they're trading.
But here's the thing. They're not
bringing the best deal. We're trading out of it.
They're not trading until draft day. Unless you are giving up one pick and gaining 3, they're not trading until draft day. That's just
I'm telling you, man. My low-key thing to look at on this is the possibility of trading out of 232, here, the first pick in the second round, and acquiring a first-round pick next year, because that does happen. People do that. Typically, you have to give a higher round pick in a future year to get this year's pick, and there would be additional along with that as well. If you had 2 first-round picks next year, then you can really chase after somebody elite. Package them together. Go after maybe a top corner from Iowa that I absolutely loved watching earlier in the season. I don't know. Just the same.
It's like there's foreshadowing in your thought, James. I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. But
we just got to reserve 26 for him. That's the key.
Exactly. So there is a lot happening with that trade at 32. We do. I very much so expect that pick to be traded. I don't think there's any way that Pittsburgh hangs on to 32. I almost don't think there's any way they hang on to 17. Quite frankly, I think there's a chance they trade up or down from 17, depending on what they decide to do in a certain position. I do not expect them to trade into the top 10. That is the only thing I don't expect them to do.
And that's been the biggest rumor, right? Is that they've been talking to the Bears about trading up to
8 or
9.
9, whatever it is.
Yeah, and that, there's been 2 different rumors. They're trading up to try to get a hold of Paris Johnson Jr., the left tackle, most people's number 1 left tackle in this draft class out of Ohio State. And then the other rumor that has more recently emerged, which I think we touched base on last week's show, is that they would be trading up to 9 to get the defensive tackle from Georgia. Which would be absolutely incredible because he's just an unstoppable force and would be a ridiculous book. And he could play nose too. That's the thing. You could start him at nose day one. You got Jalen.
Don't start him nude.
No. Start him in nose day one, and then you push him inside on pass rushing situations. Him and Hayward, my lord. Talk about a disruptive force that you'd have there.
Yeah. We need that. We need disruptive forces on our defense. That's why we have Minkah Fitzpatrick. That's why we have TJ Watt. That's why we don't have Terrell Edmonds. Anyways, moving on.
That's why you have dominant gunners on special teams.
Miles Boykin.
Like a guy like Miles Boykin.
I like the transition. Let's go.
You knew I had to do it, right?
Yeah.
So Miles signed a 1-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers today, expected to be a veteran minimum. I'm sure it's going to be like 1.2 million.
But again, that is a bigger signing than most people will realize. That is a much bigger signing because of his special teams play. So that's huge.
Yeah. Elite gunner on punt coverage. Elite.
Huge. Anyways, time to go over our last mock draft. Time to go over our mock draft. We did do some trades here. I'm not going to explain the trades. I'm just going to go over where we landed. The first 3 picks we kept. We kept 17, we kept 32, we kept 49, and then we traded out in, or whatever with the last ones. We had 5 remaining picks, which I believe is 1 or 2 more than what we actually have. So we did gain picks out of this. With that being said, first round came in, pick 17 came up, and we wanted to go with a position of need. Obviously, in the first round, you should do that. So we went cornerback. We went with a guy you guys might not know of, and James did some research this week to dig up some more information because we were lacking a 40 time on this guy, a guy by the name of Deonte Banks, cornerback out of Maryland. And James, we got a pretty decent 40 time out of this guy, right?
Yeah. Recently turned in 4.35 40-yard dash on Deonte Banks. He's got the size you're looking for, right around 6 foot, 190 plus pounds, almost 200. His vertical and broad were through the roof, ridiculous numbers. And people were saying, hey, his tape's excellent. He went to Maryland. Mike Tomlin knows him real well because of that. His son Dino obviously was a wide receiver at Maryland the last few years. So this is a guy that you can put right up there with those top 3. Everybody was saying, hey, it's Devin Witherspoon, it's Christian Gonzalez, and it's Joey Porter Jr. Some people are actually putting Deonte Banks in front of Joey Porter Jr. in their rankings. So don't be surprised if that's a direction that Pittsburgh were to go on draft day. In this particular draft, we had both available.
Yep.
We wanted to do something a little bit different because it is not out of the realm of possibility for Pittsburgh to go this direction. So he would be a home run hit, and he'd be a guy that can run chase, which is a very large concern of mine, is that whoever the corner is that they draft, because they got to get one, you got to get one probably within those first 3 picks. If you wait till after 49, I don't believe it's going to be somebody that's going to be good enough to do the job.
Nope.
Deonte Banks can run with Jamar Chase, and he's got the physicality for it.
That's what we need. So then we went to the next round. Again, we told you we kept 32. We wanted to get someone else. There were a lot of options here. We talked about a couple linebackers. We talked about a tight end. We talked about a defensive tackle. We talked about offensive guard and center. However, at this position, we felt like the only players that would have an immediate impact starting majority of the plays would be one of the 2 linebackers available, which was Jack Campbell and Trenton Simpson, or Mazi Smith, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, my apologies. So then we decided that we wanted to shore up that second tier of defense in that middle linebacker room. And we went with Trenton Simpson. Again, you've seen us multiple times go with Jack Campbell. We wanted to switch things up, make things a little different here, talk about different guys. So Trenton Simpson, again, a guy you've heard us talk about, but a guy that would be immediate starting next to Cole Holcomb, have immediate impact on the game.
highly athletic middle linebacker, 6'2", 235. 40-yard dash was in the low 4.4s. Really, really athletic, and I want to say he was strong too, like 26 on the bench,
I can find that real quick.
something like that. So yeah, he was very strong in addition to really fast and really good jump numbers. So
25.
this is someone that 25, yeah.
20.
So very good for a middle linebacker, especially when you're talking a guy that's only 235. Just a densely built dude, highly athletic, definitely good run with tight ends. Could be a real difference maker. I think he'd need some coaching, but we've got a former first-round pick as a middle linebacker coach now.
So I think we're good. Anyways,
that's not a bad thing.
No, we came up back at 49, and one of the guys we were talking about earlier, who was available at 32, was still here. An offensive center by the name of John Michael Schmitz from Minnesota was available, and we figured, you know what? This is great. We still need a guy that can come in and play center, and potentially other positions. Let's be real. And so we said, here we go. John Michael Schmitz.
20-second rant. That's all I'm going to do on John Michael Schmitz, because you guys have heard me go off many times before. In my opinion, the number one center by a pretty wide margin in this year's draft class. So you get him. He would probably beat out Mason Cole pretty quickly. If he didn't do it year one, he's doing it year two. And then you're talking 3 years from now, how the hell did he even last to the second round? I don't expect it to happen. If they took him at 17, I'd be ecstatic because he's that good of a player.
And we got him at 49 because we're just that good. Pittsburgh, bring us in. We'll have an interview.
Call us up.
With that being said, we moved down. We had a little bit of a drop here, 60 rounds. Excuse me, 60 rounds here, or 60 picks between 49 and 109.
60 rounds.
60 picks, not rounds. My apologies.
That's like 9 years.
It's wild. We saw a defensive tackle on the board that had intrigued both of us for a while now. Defensive tackle, more of an edge, honestly. Zach Pickens from South Carolina.
Yes.
Ability to play inside
Zach
and out.
is that profile, man. Yeah, he's that profile, that defensive end profile, that 3-4 defensive end, 5 technique who could kick inside in the nickel situation. 6'4", 291 with 34 3/8 inch long arms. So it's excellent length for a defensive end for Pittsburgh. A 4'8", 940 is nice and quick for a guy that big. So you got the move, you got the length, you got the size. Just coach him up. That's it. You know, this would be somebody that you wouldn't worry about him starting right away, but a high quality backup. And now you give somebody that Cam can try to mold.
Yep.
And that's what it's all about. We got to get somebody high pedigree for Cam to mold.
Yep. So then we dropped down to 112, just 3 simple picks later. And there was another guy here listed as defensive tackle, more of a defensive tackle build here. So we did decide to go with this guy out of LSU, Jacqueline Roy. Jacqueline Roy, a guy that was a havoc wreaker. Yeah, nose tackle.
Yeah, 6'3".
Huge
305 pounds. Decent length, just under 33, but 30 reps on the bench. He's a plugger. He's that guy that can help you stop the run, and that's exactly what Pittsburgh's looking for. We've got a couple nose tackles on the team. Neither one of them are extraordinary against the run. Neither one of them are high-end guys. We're talking about a guy that we picked up on the waivers, right? Yep. And then another guy we stole off a practice squad. These are not high-end defensive got in that nose tackle type position right now, currently on the team. This would be a pretty big upgrade. Wouldn't be surprised if he'd be able to win the starting job right out of the gate. And then you'd have the fun of being able to say Jay Quallen, which would be fun.
That would be fun. But they'd probably say Jay Quallen Roy. Anyways.
He's probably got a fun nickname.
Probably. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Big Boy Roy.
Big boy. There you go. Big boy Roy. All right. Speaking of big boys, we dropped down from 112 to 121, a tight end that James and I basically don't even need to explain at all if you guys have been here to any of the previous shows. Tight end out of Michigan, Luke Schoonemaker. Welcome to the team. Moving on. No, I'm just kidding.
Good blocker, better receiver. He's exactly what you're looking for prototype wise. Reminds me a ton of Pat Freiermuth. I'd love to have a second Pat Freiermuth.
Absolutely. Imagine, listen, Freiermuth and Schoonemaker Just sounds good. They should start a law firm or something. I
Right.
don't know.
That's definitely a law firm right there, man. From the Shoemaker. Sorry,
At your
Pat.
service.
Gentry, you just don't fit in that group.
You just don't. You just don't, unfortunately. So then we dropped down to 170, and we decided to stick home, stay in Pittsburgh. We went with an edge guy, Mr. Habakkuk Baldonado. Nope.
Very good. Very good.
Was that it?
Habakkuk? Yeah, Habakkuk Baldonado. You did really
Hey,
he fits exactly what Pittsburgh looks for in an outside
6'4".
linebacker, 6'4", 251. Good length, good numbers on his jumps and everything. Not an elite athlete, but a very good one. So you're getting exactly what you need there. We need better depth on the edge position. This would provide exactly that, somebody that you're not cringing if he has to play extended amount of snaps.
yeah.
So I like it. He showed really good bend at the Senior Bowl. That's what I liked. I saw him dip that shoulder to get underneath an offensive tackle, and that's something you can teach it, but either it comes natural or it doesn't. Seems like it comes natural for him.
Yeah, for sure. And then our last pick was up at 185, and we decided to go with a position that we haven't addressed all draft. Defensive side of the ball. We lost a starter here this offseason in the name of Terrell Edmonds. Thank the Lord. Daniel Scott, safety out of California. Welcome to the team, Daniel Scott. Daniel Scott's a smaller guy.
6'1", 208.
Yeah.
So he's basically almost the exact same size as Minka.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Interchangeable dude. Then 4.45 40, 22 reps on the bench, 39.5 vert and a 10.8 broad. So extremely athletic guy. So again, you don't have to start him right away, but you can put him out there, start him off in the preseason, see what you can develop with him. Make sure he's out there on the scout team getting as many reps as possible. And you might even find yourself in a situation where you prefer to have him on the field over Keanu Neal in heavy passing situations just because he's going to be able to cover more ground.
Yeah. So there's definitely options there. And I think that's, a decent draft. Again, we addressed the cornerback position, the linebacker position, the end, defensive end and defensive tackle position, the edge later on the draft, the safety, and then the tight end. Is the tight end position the only position we went with? Oh, and the center position, excuse me. So addressed a lot of needs there, but really got some playmakers that are going to be able to be difference makers on the team year 1, year 2, easy.
Yeah. And some good future guys too. Looking forward at what positions are you going to via free agency. Holes are being filled before they're void. And I think it's a really, really good draft to make sure you get a corner, make sure you get a tight end. I've been saying it over and over. The guys are there. You got to get one out of each of these rooms to solidify your team.
Yeah. And again, in previous drafts, we've been very consistent on drafting wide receivers. With the trading of Allen Robinson, we did not feel this was necessary, also along with the signing of Miles Boykin. So just a little justification there. So again, we want to see your guys' mock draft. Send those to us. Don't forget, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give those 5-star reviews. Make James's day. Make his freaking day and give those 5-star reviews. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe and ring the bell, mother trucker. It's free. And until next time, this is your host, James and Cody, signing off.
Peace.